to have kids or not to have kids? That is the question many couples face. And while there are all sorts of wonderful things about choosing to expand your family, many couples also find benefits in choosing to have a child-free lifestyle. International Child-Free Day is aimed at celebrating people who voluntarily choose not to have children and to foster acceptance of the child-free choice. So here to discuss more with us is DINK expert Chef Alicia Chevatone. Welcome, Chef.
Oh, thanks, Jessica. So nice to be here.
Of course. Wonderful to have you. So let's jump right on in. What does DINK actually mean?
DINK is an acronym that stands for Dual Income No Kids.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
yes.
so you have DINK cuisine. Let's talk a little bit about that, and maybe we can even elaborate more on DINK overall as well.
Absolutely. You know, I started DINK cuisine as a website, blogging recipes for two about 5 years ago. And what I really found was that my husband and I are child-free by choice, and most of the recipes that you find online or in cookbooks are all written for 6 to 8 servings.
Yes.
And what I was doing was I was overeating because I was preparing those recipes to a T, but I was trying to be mindful about maybe having some leftovers, but a lot of my food ended up in the trash, which means I was overcooking, I was overeating, I was overspending on food, and a lot of food waste.
Right.
So I really tried to, you know, just bring that home and develop recipes that worked for us, me and my husband, and that actually turned into a business for me, which has been fantastic.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love to hear it. You know, it's interesting because that has been one of the things I've said multiple times. I grew up in a big family, so I'm used to, when I learned how to cook, it was like cooking for everybody.
Right.
But so now when I go to make stuff for my husband and I'm just like, why do we have so much food? Especially when you're doing those, it's one thing to meal prep, but those real special dishes.
Right.
You have a load of it and you're like, what is going on here?
Right.
So what did you bring in today? What are we gonna go through today?
This is my shrimp lasagna fra Diavola. So when you think lasagna, a lot of people think big casseroles, right? To your point, you're cooking family style, especially Italian food. There's a lot of abundance. So I came up with a method to be able to cook lasagna in ramekins, just like this, and have individual portions.
Yeah.
And so fra Diavola is the traditional spicy red sauce. And so I figured that that would pair very, very well with poached shrimp, which is kind of a nice alternative. Normally when you get pasta or you get, you know, lasagna, it's very meat forward. So I figured, you know, seafood might be a nice twist. And what's different about my recipe is that I actually make my individual lasagnas with, instead of fresh pasta, I use fresh wonton sheets.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, so that's what I do. And I make the filling as basic, just a ricotta filling, a little bit of egg, ricotta, mozzarella cheese, and you just put, you know, just a little layer on top, smooth it out in an even layer, a little bit of fresh parsley, some basil, and then you just sort of assemble as you typically would, put a little bit of your
like
poached,
just layering it in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
And then you put in your, so what makes my fra Diavola sauce spicy is this Calabrian chili paste, which is pretty exciting. This stuff is really, really spicy.
Yeah.
So I recommend for every cup of marinara, 1 tablespoon of this Calabrian chili paste. And you mix it with, and you can make your own pasta sauce. I've got my pasta sauce that I make in my Italian cookbook for two. But just 1 cup of your regular pasta sauce, you can use jarred with a tablespoon of the Calabrian chili paste, and that's how you get that beautiful, spicy fra Diavola sauce. Yes. And then you just layer that on and keep with your layers.
Oh my
And then you bake this at 350 for about 20 minutes because the shrimp is already cooked.
Yeah.
And then the fresh wontons don't take very long at all.
Oh my goodness, I love it. So really quick before we go as well, I want to kind of touch on the International Child-Free Day, because it's more than just like the celebratory of like, this is what we've chosen to do, right?
Right.
It's also an acceptance of somebody just choosing to have something different, right?
It's true. You know, the average household in America is getting smaller. So the most recent census, 2.5 people. And so the last time, an International Child-Free Day, this is the 50th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So people have been celebrating this for a really, really long time, but awareness is just sort of growing at this point.
Yes.
But the last time the average household in America was over 3 people was exactly 50 years ago.
Oh my
so it's
goodness.
interesting that it's the 50th anniversary here.
Yeah.
1973, we haven't had a household of 3 or more people since then. So this is really about sort of embracing our neighbors and realizing that from a lifestyle choice, a lot of us really have smaller households, and And, you know, that just may be something that, you know, we prize and we value.
Yes. Well, Chef Alicia, thank you so much for coming in this morning. This looks amazing. I love how easy you've made this too, right? Very convenient. So for more information, be sure to visit dinkcuisine.com, or you can connect with Chef Alicia on Facebook and Instagram.